What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here to talk to you about Star Wars: The High Republic, Volume 1, There Is No Fear. This is by Cavan Scott, Ario Anindito, Mark Morales, Annalisa Leone, Ariana Maher, Phil Noto on the cover art, and Carlos Lau did the timeline design. There's a little timeline here that kind of shows, the movies and TV shows and kind of where they're all set in this big Star Wars timeline. And this book, I know the High Republic is kind of a cross-media thing. I have seen some novels. I work in a library, and I have seen some novels in the children's section and also in the upstairs section set in the High Republic era. And this is my first time dipping my toes in the High Republic. I really don't know how this differs from what the old expanded universe used to call the Old Republic. I don't know if this is the Old Republic and they just called it the High Republic in that time, old man, what's the Ancient One from Doctor Strange? The Ancient One probably didn't call himself the Ancient One whenever he was in his 20s, so the Old Republic probably wasn't called old at the height of the Old Republic. So I don't know if this is different from the Old Republic, but just reading this and having not read any of the junior novels or more adult novels, I will say this is what I wish the Star Wars sequel trilogy had done, or the Star Wars prequel trilogy. I really do believe, while I love the Star Wars original trilogy, out of all of the Star Wars stuff, my favorite two things are still A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. I think that Star Wars can be about other people and things. It always kind of drags me down whenever I see a new series and it's about Han Solo, Yoda, Darth Vader, Jabba the Hutt, Luke, Leia. There was a Leia Solo story that I remember reading, or maybe it was just a tease of a Solo story. I want to say it was written by Mark Waid, I think, and I remember really liking it, but you don't have to have Star Wars be about the same 5 people all the time. Star Wars is supposed to be a huge, expansive universe with trillions and trillions of characters and a really long timeline. In A New Hope, Obi-Wan said, for a thousand generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Republic. That is a really long time. You have a lot of time to play with there. And this, with the exception of Yoda showing up briefly on one page, so this is within 800 years before Empire Strikes Back, I believe, but with the exception of Yoda showing up, this is a whole bunch of new characters, and I was excited. I wanted to see who these people are. What are we going to do with these people? Whenever you're doing a story set before A New Hope and Han Solo is your main character, maybe it's going to be good, but at the back of my mind, I know that nothing can happen to this guy. And that's, there have been discussions about the validity of prequels, not just in the Star Wars universe, but everywhere, for longer than I've been alive, so I'm not going to get into that. But I liked here, we get a whole bunch of new characters that we have never seen before, or at least I have never seen before. Some of them may have shown up in other stuff, but I really liked getting to do something new with Star Wars. And it's not like it's reinventing the wheel either. You still have Jedi using lightsabers, they still use the Force, you've still got recognizable aliens, you've got a little boss guy here, Yoda shows up, there's also a Greedo, not a Greedo, it's one of those creatures, I'm going to put a picture up right here, I don't know how to describe it, one of those guys shows up, you've got recognizable iconography here, but it still feels like it's doing something fresh with a franchise that I was afraid you couldn't do anything fresh with. After all of the Star Wars stuff that I've consumed over the years, I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm sick and tired of it because it just feels like they're rehashing the same stuff, and this doesn't really feel like that. So now that I have kind of talked about it without really talking about it, this is a 5-issue miniseries, and I will say the first issue kind of feels out of place. You have a little standalone issue introducing these characters. There is a big space station being built somewhere in the Outer Rim that is going to be a beacon to everybody traveling in the Outer Rim. And Blondie here Commander. She is going to be the Marshal of this space station. And then this guy is the Master to this Padawan. And the first issue is her taking the trial so that she can try to become a Jedi Knight. And then something goes wrong. Spoiler, she is able to save the day, and then she is knighted at the end of the issue. And that's a nice little standalone issue that introduces most of our main characters. And then you get a little 4-part storyline with issues 2 through 5. And I kind of wish that they had just focused on that storyline, or do 5 standalone issues where you can slowly build up to something happening with some of these characters, but have 5 separate stories. It feels really weird to me where you have one issue where, I can't remember her name, it's spelled kind of weird, but where she is trying to become a Jedi Knight, and then that's kind of a done-in-one issue, and then you have issues 2 through 5, where you're building on what's happening in issue 2, in issue 3, and then you're building on that in issue 4, etc. That feels a little weird. And maybe if you're reading the series monthly, then issue 6 is going to kind of build on issue 5, and then maybe you'll have a standalone issue for issue 7, and then 8 through 10 may be a short little storyline, and maybe it just feels weird to me when I'm reading it in trade paperback form. And if you're reading it in single issues monthly, it may not feel as weird. But for me, it felt like, okay, here's a little story, and then it hints at some stuff, and then 2 through 5 is a much bigger story that is almost kind of unconnected to what was going on in issue 1. I feel like you could have started this book with her already a Jedi Knight, maybe newly knighted, but already a Jedi Knight, and then all of the times where she talks about how the boss guy taught her something, she can talk about it in dialogue, but you don't have to see it in issue 1. You don't have to have a 3-page flashback showing him teaching her how to jump over a cliff. You can talk about it in dialogue and make all of this book feel like one whole story instead of a small story and then a bigger story. That is my biggest complaint with the book. I still liked it. I like the threat that our characters are fighting here. It feels like it could exist in the world of Star Wars, but it doesn't feel like something we've seen before. I remember someone many years ago on a blog that no longer exists, or blogger doesn't update anymore, he was talking about some of the post-Return of the Jedi expanded universe stuff, and how all the stuff that people like is a reinvention of stuff from the movies. And he said, now I don't have enough experience with this character to make a statement like this, but he claimed that the blue guy, whose name I can't remember, that he is basically a reinvention of Moff Tarkin. And he was talking about how a lot of these stories, they will bring back Emperor Palpatine. Does that sound familiar to you? And then they will bring back some other Sith Lord who is a fallen Jedi. He may not be Darth Vader, but it's very similar. And then he talked about this one Star Wars book that had dinosaur people. Like, they kind of looked like dinosaurs. And I could not tell you the name of that book since I haven't read it. And he said, that one was weird because it doesn't feel like Star Wars. And what I like about this book is the threat we have here. I've never seen a Star Wars story with anything quite like what we have here. Now, if you've read a lot of sci-fi stuff, this feels like something you would see in a sci-fi story somewhere, but it doesn't really feel like something you've seen in a Star Wars book before, or anything Star Wars before, but it doesn't feel out of place in the world of Star Wars. I really like that. Again, this makes me realize that you can still do new and interesting stuff with Star Wars. It isn't completely a spent force, and I'm very, no pun intended, force. I am excited about that. So just when I thought that I was out, they pull me back in. So those are my thoughts on High Republic Volume 1. I hope you guys like this video, and if you do, I will see you guys in the future with some more videos. In the meantime, have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.